Hello and welcome to Attention Central Texas. I'm your host, Charles Jenkins, and in the studio with me we have a woman of many talents, Miss Beverly Wolf Lukey, and she's with Altrusa. She's the International Membership Chair, and she's also with the Rotary Club, Assistant Governor for District 59, 10 or 70?
5870.
5870, I got that wrong, but hello and welcome to today's show.
Good morning. Thank you for having me today.
Yes, ma'am. Let's start off with Altrusa, because I've heard of Rotary, but I've never heard of Altrusa. So tell us a little bit about just what is Altrusa and the little history behind it.
All right. Well, Altrusa started back in 1917 by basically a woman named Mamie L. Bass.
All right.
Her brother was actually an architect and was actually a Rotarian. And she saw the great things that Rotarians were doing, and she thought, you know, we need a woman's professional group to step up and basically do the same thing, because at that time, Rotarians were basically all men. In fact, that's what it was, a men's club. And so from that point forward, Mamie and women took control of doing a lot of community service. In the early 1960s, they basically took on literacy as their main focus.
Okay.
And up until today, we actually base a lot of our projects locally as well internationally around literacy and helping not only women but men and women and children.
Okay.
So Altrusa is a very active organization locally, especially. We're lucky enough to have 4 clubs just in the Temple, Belton, Killeen area.
Wow.
Yeah. We have Altrusa Temple, which meets during the day. We have another club, Altrusa Coppers Cove, that also meets during the day, and then 2 clubs that meet in the evenings, Altrusa Central Texas, which actually is in Killeen, as well as Altrusa Chisholm Trail, which meets in the evening in the Temple area.
All right, and you're wearing 2 hats in 2 different groups, so tell us a little bit about what you do for Rotary.
Well, again, I'm all about service, and because Altrusa was all about service, I jumped in and had a lot of dear friends as members of that organization, and that's why I wanted to become a part of Altrusa. But I had become a Rotarian back in 2006, basically for networking. I wanted to meet the movers and shakers of the community, and that's why I joined Rotary. And I found that there's such similarities that I'm really comfortable in both organizations, and I feel like I've now, since I've retired, become a professional volunteer. But Rotary is a organization that, again, its motto is service above self. Yes. And I think most community organizations are very much that, but that is our true motto. And we provide community service not only within our own community and within the United States, but we provide community service around the world. And you know, you've probably heard of our real focus that started back in the 1960s when polio was killing 3,000 people a day. And Rotary, the membership and leadership, felt like that was something that we could take on. We thought we were going to lick it in about 2-3 years. Well, today, as of August 1st, there are still 12 documented active cases of polio in the world, basically in the Afghanistan, Pakistan area. But the great thing is we're down to only 12 victims. And so polio has been one of our true focuses of concentration in helping the world alleviate that.
That's awesome.
So service is what Rotarians do. And
well, and I think any organization that does service is awesome, because you know, the good Lord, that was one of the things he told us. He didn't come to be served, he came to serve. And I think when you serve, even if you're having a bad day or you're not feeling good or something, when you go out and help others, it helps lift your spirit as well.
Oh my goodness, yes. I think that is exactly what it's all about. It's not what you're doing so much for others, because it does. It gives you worth, and just to put a smile or a twinkle in an eye. You know, there is so much to be said about that, and service is what the good Lord has directed us to do.
Well, and now that we're talking about service, I know that there are people out that may be watching you and I today and asking themselves the question, so how can I become a Rotarian, and how can I become an Altrusa? I couldn't get it out. How can I become a Rotarian, and how can I become an Altrusan? So just tell us, how can they do that?
Well, I can do that. Well, Rotary, as I said, has truly a face in the community, and we have actually 2 clubs in Temple. We have a club in Salado. We have a club in Belton. We have 3 clubs in Killeen and 1 in Coppers Cove. What you do, you can Google, you know, whether you want to be a Rotarian in any of those areas, just Google it, see what clubs may work into your time schedule, because we have evening clubs, we have morning clubs, and we have noon clubs. And so there's really not a reason not to become a Rotarian if service is something that's in your heart. So I would encourage people to either Google and look that club up, go to their website. Every Rotary Club has a website, and they also have a Facebook page. So certainly that would be a great way of getting involved in Rotary. I know there's a number of projects always ongoing in those Rotary clubs, and they're going to invite you to be a part of that project. See if this is really what you want to do. On the other hand, with Altrusa, I would do the exact same thing. Go to Google. As I said, there's 2 clubs in Temple, there's a club in Killeen and 1 in Coppers Cove. See which one may work into your schedule, and again, service is what it's about. So we will also get you involved in a project along those very, very same lines.
And speaking of getting people involved, do y'all have anything that's going on right now that if people don't want to become a Rotarian or a Altrusan, how can the community come alongside, get involved, volunteer? Who do they need to contact? Share all that great information with us.
Well, honestly, we do a lot of partnering with organizations throughout the community. I know presently, we are working with the VA in my Rotary Club, and actually I've asked all the Rotary Clubs in the Central Texas area, which there's 10, to get involved in a big cookout that we're hoping to have October 12th in the Levine Park here in Harker Heights. And what we're wanting to do is provide a cookout for the veterans of Vietnam, Desert Storm, Iraq, and Afghan wars. And so that's one way, and we will be getting those things out. If you will just follow our Facebook pages or certainly get on our websites, that's one way of getting together and seeing what we're doing in the community. But we work with United Way hand in hand. We work with Families in Crisis. Any organizations that are helping people. Basically, Rotary and Altrusa are going to be involved in some way or another.
Well, and this may seem like a silly question to you, but your love for both of them is just oozing out. So what made you, why did you get involved with both of these projects?
Well, selfish reasons, I will tell you. I joined Rotary, like I said, in 2006 because I was starting a new business. And I wanted to be a part of the movers and the shakers of the community. And that's where the movers and shakers were. They were in a Rotary Club. So I did it for networking purposes. And I loved, from the moment I joined it, I loved the people in my club. And we were doing great projects basically within the district. But I had several opportunities to travel around the world with Rotary. In 2010, our district governor had a project for wheelchairs, and he wanted to do a wheelchair project. So basically what we did, we raised money to provide wheelchairs, not only in 2010, but also in 2013, to take wheelchairs to needy adults as well as children in Cancun. And then in 2013, we took over 550 wheelchairs to the Lima, Peru area and distributed 550 wheelchairs. And you talk about something that that was phenomenal. So that's where service started with me. Although my parents were both service oriented. They always gave to the community. So I can blame them for having that service. But then ironically, when I retired in 2010, one of my very dear friends was in Altrusa, and I went, you know, I think I want to be a part of that group too. So I was privileged enough to join Altrusa, and you know, basically they work along the same lines. So if you've got service in your heart, if you just want to give back, whether it's a lot or a little, you have an opportunity to serve your community, if not the world, by joining either Rotary or Altrusa.
And you probably don't want me to say this, but I'm gonna just go ahead and say it. Tell our viewers you were given some prestigious award in this area. What was it?
Well, I was. I have been named Woman of Distinction by the Central Texas Girl Scouts of America. And I tell you what, that was one of the most humbling presentations I've ever had. You know, Girl Scouts means a lot to me. Even though I wasn't a Girl Scout, I was a campfire girl. And I said, "Are you sure you want to name me that?" And they said, "Beverly, you're such an example of what we want our girls to strive for." And so I was very humbled by that designation. And anyway.
Well, and just to add something to that, I think people who serve, and no disrespect to people who don't, but I think people who serve, they are a little more, they seem more happier. Because when you serve other people, the smiles and everything on their face can't help but turn your frown upside down.
Yeah. Well, you know, to me, it takes less muscles to smile than it does to frown. I know that as a physical therapist. So I'm thinking, and it prevents wrinkles. So I like to smile a lot. And you know, if you'll just smile at somebody, you're going to brighten a day, whether they're having a bad day or not. You're going to brighten that moment for them. So why not do that?
Well, Ms. Beverly, I just want to take this time to say thank you for being on the show. Thank you for what you do, and keep a servant's heart. I think it's going to make your heart even more bigger. And just thank you for what you do.
Well, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity. And I hope that if this touched someone, please reach out to a Rotary Club or to an Altrusa Club.
All right. And thank you, our viewers, for tuning in to Attention Central Texas.